Hello!
We are the
Asian literature.
Ancient history is usually defined as the time period up to 500 CE, and that means that ancient literature will be literature that was written during this time period up to 500 CE. One of the most prominent in Asian literature are China and India, who have the most interesting history in Asia. Let's discuss first India. The term Indian literature is used here to refer to a literature produced across the Indian subcontinent prior to the creation of the Republic of India in 1947 and within the Republic of India after 1947. Examples are Vedas and Ramayana. Vedas refers to sacred writings that were written in Sanskrit, while Ramayana is an Indian epic poem written by the poet Valmiki in Sanskrit. These are some of the authors and their works that truly inspired the readers and the other people. And first we have here Amrita Pritam, and one of her famous work is 49 Days. We have Amitabh Ghosh and his work Shadowlines. We have here Mahatma Gandhi, and one of his famous work is My Experiment with Truth. We have here Sansil Gavaskar and his work One Day Wonders. And last but not the least is Ramesh Chandra Dutt and his work Economic History of India. There are many who wrote a lot of books, and we should indeed recognize them by their works.
China. Chinese literature is one of the major literary heritages of the world, with an uninterrupted history of more than 3,000 years, dating back at least 14th century before Christ's era. Examples are The Art of War, that was written by Chinese General Zhang Zi or Zhang Cui in 5th century before Christ's era. Another example is Confucius' Analects, that was discussed in our junior high school days by our communication or AP teachers. These Analects are very popular because of the devotion of each family member to their culture. There are many various writers in China that their literary works are really recognized by many people. 1. Diary of a Madman by Lu Xun. 2. Rixoboy and Tea House by Lao She. 3. Flash Fashion and Love in a Fallen City by Zhong Hailin. 3. Fortes Besieged by Qian Zhengzhu and Zhu Zoren, who translated Amelot literary piece by his brother Liu Xun, and he was the one of the most outstanding translators in China. That is not all. There are many authors that their works are really recognized and loved of many people.
Let's go on to our country, Philippines. Our literature is associated with the Philippines from prehistoric through the colonial legacies and on to the present. Philippine literature is an exposition of social truths, fictional imagination. It caresses the senses of the man, the viewers, the hearing, the sensation, and the senses. As per said by Ronica Valdeavilla, 2018, the Philippine literature also reflects a diverse group of works which are mostly grounded on traditional folk tales, socio-political histories, and real-life experience. Those literature have promoted the Philippine cultural values to express the struggles of locals and have instilled a remarkable lesson. There are various Filipino writers who can contribute to the Philippine literature. Let's start with Nico Mendez, Nick Marquez Joaquin, who has been considered one of the most important Filipino writers along with Dr. Jose Rizal and Claro M. Recto. His famous works are the Mayday Eve, The Woman Who Had Two Navels, Tropical Gothic, Caven Shadows, and many more. Second, Edith El Tiempo, the famous author of anthologized poem Halaman and Bonsai. She was conferred the National Artist Award for Literature in 1999. Third, Dr. Jose Rizal, our own national hero. His works was one of the most great novels in Philippine literature. The No Limitang Here, that sparked the social awakening of Filipinos during the Spanish colonial era, and its sequel book, El Filibusterismo. Fourth, Francisco Balagtas, known as a prominent Filipino poet during Spanish colonial period.
The famous masterpieces in the Philippine literature is his work, Florante at Laura, that is written in the form of awit, where there are 4 lines per stanza and 12 syllables per line. Fifth, Luwalhati Torres Bautista, a Filipino novelist. Her works are Gapo, Bata-Bata, Paano Ka Ginawa, and Dekada 70. The novel Dekada 70 tells the story of lead protagonist Amanda Bartolome and her family, where she had to deal with facing the law and her responsibilities towards her 5 sons. Our literature is very much needed and important in our community as well as in the world. It allows us to learn about where we came from and how past events work to share the different cultures. As we study literature, we can learn about a person's life, how the struggle, and know the meaning of the message behind every poem and novels that we read. It enables us to understand and know our culture. It allows us to travel into different places through our imagination. And lastly,
The value of
to
Philippine
reflect.
literature is that it helps people to think about where they come from and how historical incidents have influenced various cultures. By learning literature, poetry, essays, stories can develop our reading skills and expand your awareness by reading. In Asian literature, on the other hand, is a text-based series that exemplifies the poetic creativity and linguistic inventiveness of Asian authors as they negotiate their complex cultural identities. For the first time, thousands of pages of English language novels, short fiction, and poetry written from the end of colonial period to the present are searchable together.
Philippine literature helps us to know about our culture, to dwell on the past, and to fly through the imagination over the various countries. However, Asian literature can now see multilateral literary trends spreading beyond that. And the word-of-mouth epic poems of ancient India, Persian poetry, Chinese poetry, Arabic poems, and other literary works of Asian are being resurrected as the modern literary traditions. Philippine literature is where we can hear a lot about people's life, how they suffer, the experiences, and the message behind their work that truly inspirational.